So we have a short reflection, and it's based on the reading that we've had from the Acts of the Apostles. And it's just I've titled it very simply, drawn from the lines that we had, that they were of one heart and soul and held everything in common. They were of one heart and soul and held everything in common. In our first reading that is drawn from this, we get a glimpse of how the Christian culture of the early followers of Christ looked like. They were of one heart and soul. They held everything in common. They testified to the resurrection of Jesus. Grace was upon them. There was no needy person among them, and all kinds of elements that we get to hear about. This culture of the early Christians is what inspired the religious communities that we have right now, where everything is held in common. People live in the communities just the way how we do. We all live, we don't have personal private bank accounts. And life revolves around prayer. We meet every morning, we meet in the evenings, and we also share the meals. So around prayer and the common table. But these ideals of sharing and a community spirit are ideals that are not simply meant for religious communities, but are ideals meant to be lived by everybody in society in some form. We have a Christian responsibility to one another, and unless you really have this impulse behind it in your life, you can't be able to live what we are reading about today. We have a Christian responsibility to take care of our weak members of society, or those who have less, or those who have nothing at all. God has given our world enough wealth, enough gifts, and enough talents, and that if at our core we are configured with this spirit of community and sharing, few people would sleep on empty stomachs. And very few people would go without clothes, and very few people would go without access to medical care, and few people would be homeless without proper housing. If that is the impulse that we had deep down in our hearts, and that's the way how we are configured, very few people would be able to experience this, because we would have enough to share, to go around. Next door to us here, next to the Peyton Center, we have a ministry known as My Brother's Keeper. My Brother's Keeper. And the mission of this My Brother's Keeper is simply to remind us that we all have a Christian responsibility to care about the needs of others. And we have a Christian responsibility to do something about the needs of our neighbors. That's what it keeps reminding us. You are your brother's keeper. You cannot abdicate this responsibility. You can't do that. You have to take care of your brother. The great Mahatma Gandhi reminded us that the world has enough resources to take care of all people's needs, but not enough to take care of people's greed. There is enough to go around, but there isn't enough to satisfy all people's greed in the world. It is so sad that in some parts of the world that we live in, people have so much to eat and to throw away, so much food, yet in other parts of the world, we also have people that are going without anything to eat, and people are hungry. It is unfortunate that in some parts of the world, people throw away so many clothes and shoes, yet in other parts of the world, we have kids who do not have anything to cover themselves with. It is unfortunate that in some parts of the world, we have governments that are investing billions of dollars in space exploration programs to go and find out whether human life exists in outer space. Yet they can't commit resources to taking care of the homeless people that live under highway bridges or in these tented camps homeless camps that we have. But investing a lot of money in all these other programs to find out whether life exists elsewhere. So this is the paradox of life that we live in. And the message, the Christian message really challenges this kind of worldview of approach to life. You know, a couple of years back, Pope Francis warned our world that we cannot live in a world where there is enough food and there is enough water for everybody to consume, but only a few people can be able to access it. It's only a few people who have money that can be able to access that food and that water. And he warned us that, you know what, structuring the world in such a form is self-destructive. At some point, it is going to compromise global peace. You cannot have enough food and enough water available for everybody, but only a few people who have money can be able to access it. We're putting ourselves in a very difficult and dangerous situation. We just need to find a balanced way that can be able to honor private ownership while also attending to the needs of those who do not have anything or those who have extraordinarily just very little available to them. So in this Mass, may we ask the Lord to renew our spirit of sharing, our spirit of solidarity, and also in a very special way, we are praying that God blesses our donors who share their gifts and time and talent and treasure to advance the work that we're doing, but also to give us the ability to be able to share with those who don't have anything. And as we continue with our Mass, may we be reminded again and again that we actually are our brother's keepers.